Hi boys and girls, today we're going to do a review of converting metric and customary units of measurement. So let's talk about what each of these are. So all week we've been talking about converting metric units of measurement, and we have had different base units. So we have been talking about grams and meters and also liters. And so we know that when we're converting grams to decagrams, then we are dividing by 10. This is very similar. It really is just like when we did our powers of 10. So when we are converting from grams to decigrams, then we are multiplying by 10 because it takes more of those units to equal that gram. So if we're talking about centigram, that is 100 times more than a gram. So let's practice some of these. I'm going to bring over one of these charts. So let's look at our problem here. So we have a whale is 24 meters long. A rhinoceros is 400 centimeters long. Which is longer? Well, I don't really know how to compare those because one is in meters and one is in centimeters. So I need to put one of those, I need to put a whale in either centimeters, or I need to put the rhinoceros in meters so that I can compare the same things. Okay, so let's look at what a meter is. So that is my base unit when I'm looking at meters. Because my meter, I'm looking at length. And then how many centimeters would it be if it's 24 meters long? So if it's 24 meters, the whale is 24 meters long, then how many centimeters would it be? So I know when I'm converting from meters to centimeters, then I'm moving here to the right, and I'm going to multiply by 10. And I had to do that twice. So if I multiply by 10 one time, 24 times 10, then I know that is 240. If I multiply it 240 by 10 again, what do I have? So it's increasing by 10 again, so I would have 2,400. So 24 meters equals 2,400 centimeters. So now I can compare that a whale would be 2,400 centimeters long, and a rhinoceros is 400 centimeters. Which is longer? Well, a whale is longer, isn't it? Well, how much longer? Well, if a whale is 2,400 centimeters long and a rhinoceros is 400 centimeters long, how can I tell the difference? Well, I could subtract them. And the difference between them is 2,000 centimeters. The whale is 2,000 centimeters longer than the rhinoceros. So now let's look at another problem. I'm still looking here at the metric system, but let's look at this problem. Mr. Richardson had 14 liters of lemonade for the class party. The students drank 9,500 milliliters of lemonade. How many milliliters of lemonade does Mr. Richardson have left over? So I'm noticing that I'm looking at two different units of measurement. I'm looking at liters and milliliters. So liters are here, and where are milliliters? Right here. So I have to convert this. So why don't we look at Mr. Richardson? And let's convert his liters to milliliters. So if he has 14 liters, how many milliliters does he have? So each time I'm going to multiply by 10. One more time to get to milliliters. So if I multiply 14 times 10, I get 140. If I multiply by 10 again, I get 1,400. And then if I multiply by 10 again, I'm getting 14,000. So now Mr. Richardson has 14,000 milliliters of lemonade. So it wants to know how many milliliters of lemonade does he have left over. Well, what happened to the milliliters of lemonade? The students drank 9,500 milliliters of lemonade. So if I take 14,000 and subtract 9,500, and I think this time I'm going to think about it is finding the difference on a number line. So if I start at 9,500, well, how much till I get to 10,000? That's 500. And then 10,000 to 14,000. That's 4,000 more, right? So what was the difference between these? Let me erase this part here. So I can see my work really well with this number line. So what was the difference between these numbers? So 4,500. So after the students drank 9,500 milliliters of lemonade, there were 4,500 milliliters of lemonade left over. So that's another way that I can use the metric system to convert units of measurement. Now, also this week, we've been talking about customary units of measurement, and we've been looking at capacity, cups, pints, quarts, gallons, and ounces, and we've been looking at weight, the length, and also time. So these aren't anything that I have to have memorized. This chart, I can use this chart to help me solve problems. So let's do one of these together. The school cafeteria uses 120 pints of milk to make pudding. That sounds good, doesn't it? How many gallons of milk did they use? So here I'm talking about pints, but I want to know how many gallons. So I wonder if I have 120 pints, how many gallons of milk is that equivalent to? So how am I going to find that out? So I have to try to decide how I'm going to solve this. So I'm noticing that pints here, let me get my pen out. I'm noticing that 2 pints equal 1 quart, and then I know how many quarts equal a gallon. So I'm thinking that it's going to help me if I determine how many pints, how many quarts equal a pint. So if I have 120 pints, how many quarts do I have? Well, let's look at our chart. Well, if I have 2 pints, I have 1 quart. So I have twice as many pints as I do quarts. Well, here I have 120 pints. So how many quarts would I have? That's right, I would have half as many because I'm dividing that by 2. So that would be 60. So if I have 120 pints, I have 60 quarts. Now I know if I have 60 quarts, how many gallons do I have? Well, for every gallon, I have 4 quarts. So if I have 60 and I divide that by 4, let's do that. Well, I know 4 times 10 is 40. I'm going to subtract that, I get 20. 4 times 5 is 20. Oh. And then I'm finished. So how many times did I divide that by? 15. So 60 divided by 4 equals 15. So 60 quarts equals 15 gallons. So that also means that 120 pints equals 15 gallons. So they used 15 gallons of milk to make pudding. Great job today, boys and girls. With this review of converting metric and customary units of measurement. Keep up the good work.